risk, then nothing gain. Take a risk or lose the chance. And if your why doesn't make you cry, then the price of success will probably be too high. But realize, your mind is like a t-shirt. When you stretch, it never go back to its original size. So just try. We all wanna get in big rooms for what we pursuing, but the biggest room in the world is room for improvement.
No.
Episode 141. I'm fighting with Sienna to get the mic. Sienna's in the building. Drop a bomb for her. Young Matt's behind the camera. Baitlin's in the building. V. Els. Chris Featherston. Welcome to the Chris Featherston podcast.
I'm done.
Willie Beam and Top G.
Yo.
Six God. Nikki is here. She said stop coming for her in the comments or she's going to stop talking and we need her to talk.
Not my nails.
Anything
but my nails. Anything but my nails.
Yo, they shooting at her in the comments.
Hey guys, sensitive topic. The first thing y'all do?
I know.
That ain't sensitive talk.
Not to you.
Hey, say hi. You waving, girl. So, how y'all been doing? We just came back from DC. Episode 140 was with Austin Dunham. Mm-hmm. I got episode 139. We got to hold that one for y'all. That one's going to come out a little later. All right. Thank you. Thank you. My mic placement's off. I got you. Well, we're starting today with better communication can help unresolved. Oh, my fault. I can't read. Cannot help unresolved trauma. You got a clip for that.
Yeah, there's a clip for that.
Who spelled help like that?
That says heal.
Where's the
why it
heel?
doesn't say help.
It doesn't say heel either.
I don't know what it says. It looks like help to me.
A-L.
Okay.
Okay.
Better communication cannot heal unresolved trauma. I got a clip. I'm about to play. Sienna, please stop.
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, I'm at my limit. Hold on.
Really her podcast.
Facts.
Communication is not going to save your relationship. And if you have the same fight over and over, you do not have a communication problem. You have an unresolved childhood trauma problem. This is why most couples therapy or pop relationship advice does not work. They're only trying to chip away at the very top surface of this iceberg when over 80% of it is submerged under the surface. In our nervous system, in our subconscious. For example, one person might feel alone, unseen, and unheard. The other might feel suffocated, controlled, criticized. One person can't relax if a conflict is not resolved immediately. The other person can't relax unless they avoid the conflict. You see, these emotional pains are familiar. And if you sit with it long enough, you'll see that these pains go way back in time before your current or recent relationship, all the way back to childhood. We think it's our partner's job to soothe these pains, to finally help us feel whole. But if you think like this, you'll be running that hamster wheel forever. You see, it's our job to reprocess and heal these emotional pains from childhood. There is no ignoring it or running away from it. The answer is from within.
I never saw that clip. Good clip. I don't know who picked it. Who wants to start?
That was definitely the first clip. Yeah.
Go ahead, Briss.
I think what he said was very extremely profound. I think we prop up communication so highly. Like we know how to talk to each other. I think we do. We know how to express. We know how to express what we're going through and how we feel, and then say if a person is.
Disagree with that too.
Go ahead. No. Well, I think that sometimes that assumption is also what gets us in trouble.
Preach.
Right. I think that assuming that everyone not only is comfortable saying, hey, I feel like this about this, and to bring it back to unresolved trauma, and just since everyone's making fun of me anyway.
Hey, man, leave her alone in the comments, man.
I'm just not built for it. Oh, my God. That's a hard thing to do, to say, hey, this bothers me. One, because you may have grown up thinking, okay, then fix it. Like you don't have to be, you can either let it go or you can deal with it, make a choice. And I don't want to leave you, so I have to eat it. Or it's, okay, I'm trying not to do that anymore, but how do I reach you? How am I comfortable saying it? What am I even feeling? Figuring that out sometimes is hard. It's like, I have a feeling. It's a real big one. I don't know what it is, but it's a very large feeling.
I think a big part of communication is learning.
If y'all can watch y'all mouths for Sienna, I need y'all. You come every week.
Know how to talk, and that we don't know how to listen to our partner. Like if you cross that commitment line, that trust should be there. So you should have your ears open. I think a big part of that unresolved trauma is not knowing how to listen. When somebody says something to you, you don't know how to respond.
Chris is still coming in low.
Huh?
You still coming in low, but it's all good.
Oh, my bad.
I'll fix it.
But yeah, for what you're saying, I agree. We can polish up our delivery. A big part of the. I'll keep. Are you trying to talk?
I am, but somebody's trying to I don't know if you're deterring me. But no, I was gonna say the thing in the clip that resonated with me the most, and especially because I just finished this book, Say What You Mean, is they were talking about that surface level stuff. Like we all hear the surface level stuff, and then we argue and bicker and go back and forth about that initial thing instead of getting to the deeper want that's there, not the initial need. Like you might feel a ways about X, Y, and Z, but that's not really what the person is saying to you, and then we don't do enough to dig deep. We are all arguing about the surface level things. So that's really and I put nonviolent communication on there because I've been talking about it with Willie a lot, and I read it. Okay, then go over there, girl. Oh, you can take that too. Okay, that's fine.
With me though.
And Sienna's gone. This her show.
Period.
But in reading that book, that was one of the main things. I actually got a whole bunch of notes. Willie, what you think while I look at my notes?
I kind of understand what Chris is saying, though, because I do think the part that we kind of miss out on with communication is the listening part. I can even say for myself. I think Chris is right. We know how to actually talk, like the idea of talking, but we don't know how to have effective communication because we think effective communication is just talking, but it is listening and understanding and meeting people where they are and then be able to really, truly address the things that the other person's saying. I also do think that necessarily being able to understand and listen, but also ask the right questions will help you to understand some of the pain points of somebody's communication. Sometimes they can communicate something in one area, but it could be derived from trauma that they're not explaining or not communicating. So being able to listen and really becoming attuned to your partner, asking the right questions and really trying to find the source of things will also help deal with that. So I think the clip is saying is it's not just us better talking about the things in the moment. It's really true understanding and connection on where some of the trauma points could be deriving. I will say though that in relationships, two things can happen. You can have unresolved trauma, but the person that you're with could also tap into that unresolved trauma and actually exasperate that.
Yeah,
So you can compound that.
Say that, bro. No, I was saying one of the things I learned in reading the book is bro, you, especially with my argumentative style, you trying to silence me? My argumentative style is to win the argument. That I never get to the bottom of the shit. I be arguing to win. I be fighting. It's not good. And then those things that person might have shared with you, you use them in a way that is like Willie said, is exacerbating. Look, now he got words, right?
Now he got
and no words earlier.
20 seconds ago.
We asked him his type. He had no words. Now he's exasperated. Shut up.
All the vocabulary in the world.
Let me ask you a question. When you win the argument, do you really win?
No.
Nah, nobody wins. Nobody's
I
winning.
had to learn it the hard way. In my relationship, I had to learn that I had to hear my partner to actually understand what was going on. I was more so like Kadeem. I wanted to win the argument, and then later on, I didn't feel like I won. I felt like, that was for nothing. I didn't really resolve anything out of it.
But I think the clip is speaking to not just being good at communication, because yes, that's important for any relationship that you're in, but in an intimate relationship, recognizing someone's trauma and how it causes them to deal with things, right? She talks about how...
Hold on, let me drop a bomb for that.
Someone about it right now. That is me. If we need to talk about it right now, because if we walk away, my mind's going to tell me that you hate me now, we about to leave each other, everything is not okay. We need to talk right now. Do not leave me alone in my feelings. Where someone else might be, I need to sort through this for a second.
That iPad never stood a chance.
I need to sort through this and figure out what it is, right? But there are people who feel abandoned by that. It's like, oh, you're leaving me in these feelings by myself when you're just trying to meet your own needs. And we're not recognizing that our partner might, even if you're not trying to trigger them, even if you're not pulling things from that they've told you in confidence and throwing it at them. Sometimes the way that you respond, if someone, I don't do arguing. So when someone argues with me, if you raise your voice at me, I don't care what we're talking about. Party's over. Party done. We can all just stop right now, because whatever you think you're going to get, you're not getting nothing.
Where does the compromise come in, though? Because like you said, your partner walking away is them fulfilling their own needs, but you needing them to talk about it right now is also you fulfilling your needs, too. So where do we establish
figure out a compromise?
There's
a good gray area.
There's definitely a gray area, but I just want to make sure, because yes, it can't always be that way, right? I've been in relationships where it was like, okay, we had like a scale.
I got one, Nikki. Maybe when it's your issue. Like, you
Okay.
the one who has the issue. I'm not going to just walk away from your
Right.
issue. And if I have an issue, then you're going to be the one to compromise on my issue.
That was my thing. Whoever has bigger, in my brain, it was, okay, he has bigger feelings than me.
Okay.
So he gets to walk away from this because he's mad at me. So I don't want to get yelled at anyway. So we're going to give you a couple seconds. If you were going to leave, you would. Because of the way that we've communicated before in happy times and who I know you to be, I'm trusting you not to leave me. But also that comes with knowing your own traumas.
And the trauma is like, I think that's the most important thing, because a lot of us have parents that stepped out. A lot of us have parents that did certain things. But I think the trust is key, because when your partner walks out, you think it's over. Why do you think that?
A lot of that isn't.
Why you think that?
That's not my partner's fault, though.
No, that's what the clip is saying. But I think even when you're in a relationship, it has to be to the point where disagreements are inevitable. You are with somebody who is not you. So y'all got to take arguments are good. Disagreements are good. That's how you grow through it. That's how you grow through the whole thing.
Healthy ones are good, yes.
Right.
Yes, yes.
So you got to take the disagreement as an opportunity rather than a threat. I think we take disagreements as a threat on whatever identity we have. Maybe we faking. I'm not saying people faking out there, but maybe we're putting up an image. Maybe our ego's too prevalent and it feels attacked to the point where if I get proven wrong on this one thing, then my whole identity is in question. And we like, yo, that's not the case. This person has a different approach to me. So it's trying to establish a certain bridge that we can both walk on to actually continue in our relationship.
But I have a question. Like, you asked a question about like which conflict style prevails when a conflict arises. How many of us really have asked the question in a beginning space, like, how do we deal with each other's conflict, or how do we deal with conflict in general?
No.
I think the thing is that the question that really needs to be asked is, or to pay attention to or learn about a person, is their communication style. Like, you need to know your own and be learning the other person's communication style, because then you won't take offense to when they respond the way that they normally communicate, how they listen and how they articulate. So some people do need to separate themselves, process, and come back. Some people need to get it all out up front, or they're going to overthink when they walk away. And then those are the things that you have to pay attention to, like whether we're going to work out well in that setting by our communication styles. This is stuff that people don't think about during the butterfly stage. Love language, communication style, like.
But I disagree with V. I disagree. I think conflict by science tells you it puts you in a different emotional state.
I think she's saying communication. You're talking about conflict.
Yeah. And communication is different. Communication can be very broad.
Yeah.
Communication can say how I'm going to interact in different modalities. What I'm saying is conflict is a completely different emotional state.
Facts.
Now we're talking about fight or flight. We're talking about competitiveness. We're talking.
The question is, why does it have to be?
No, but
there are different strategies that people implement when they're arguing.
Right,
you got hold on, I wrote them down. I got notes. No, the habitual conflict strategies are conflict avoidance, competitive confrontation, that's me, passivity, being super passive, and passive aggression. Right, so that's usually the different modalities really speaking on that people use in conflict. Me and him were talking about nonviolent communication yesterday, and he's just talking about how that's how we talk to each other. Sometimes we'll just verbally spar just to. I don't even know what to do. Shit.
What we're doing is we're half-assing compatibility establishment. Half-assing it.
No.
I agree.
I feel like we are.
But we're not talking about that, right?
That's what I'm
It's a
saying.
part of it.
No, the conversation is better communication cannot fix unresolved trauma.
Agreed.
I can be, when I am not triggered, I am the best communicator on the planet.
That's what I'm saying.
Bingo.
When I am okay, when you have not reminded me of something that hurt me before, I'm the best, right?
Yes.
And so you talk about, and I get what you're saying when you say that disagreements are good, they can be healthy, we should go into them like that, and I should know that this is my partner, we're disagreeing, he's not leaving me, that's not what's happening. But what I'm telling you is, there are people, not just women either, whose trauma has told them, and a long line of it. If you have never had a healthy disagreement, if you're used to fights being fights, if you are used to an argument and a disagreement ending with slam doors, people leaving, people fake leaving, all that, then you go into any argument and it's like, especially if you're trying. Right. For me, the turn came when I was trying to be.
Yeah, and the more you're invested, the higher the passion will be too.
But even when I found myself saying, you take accountability for your trauma, right? And you say, okay, you can recognize I'm being triggered. So I'm going to go into this and try and like do what the opposite of what I used to do. It's still terrifying. It's terrifying.
Do you say that in that moment though? I think we have to talk to the space of when we're being triggered and we know we are. Why don't we communicate that?
I'll give you.
That's that surface level to the bottom, bro. That's what I'm telling you.
I'll give you an example. I'm gonna put myself out there. I'll give you an example.
Please,
when I was younger, but sometimes
She was anybody.
Put myself out there, but 20 years ago.
No. I'm gonna tell you like some trauma I had from my childhood. My mom would avoid, like I would want her to communicate certain things, and she would avoid and close her door. Do that a lot, right? So when I got into relationships, I was avoiding conflict because that's what I was taught. And when it happened, I didn't have the tools. I didn't know either I would shut down completely because I don't know. I'm like, I don't know how to do this. I'm not used to doing this. Avoid, So I had to go to therapy to gain the skills that I didn't get as a child in order to, it's all right for me to say how I feel. Yeah. It's okay. And to gain the skills on how to do it and know that my voice does matter, like in a relationship. So that's the thing. Like, and then I'll have to go in like, hey, this is something that's a challenge for me. I was able to communicate it because I had some confidence being aware of myself. But if you have the trauma and you're not taking accountability that you have it, and you're not doing something about it to at least go in and give the person a heads up, like, hey, I'm working on it, but you're gonna be patient with me because this is something I still have challenges with.
Sometimes you don't know that you have that trauma.
That's what I'm saying. Most people, some might not go to therapy, some are not aware, and so they lash out or they'll react like they normally would with bad, habits that they've created, from trauma.
What happens when your partner, the person that you're supposed to trust and be committed to, they see it and they say, that's trauma. And you're sitting here and you're like, you get even more in defense mode. No, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Why are we together? Like, for real.
Is that the right place to call out my trauma?
No.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
No,
Therapist
yo,
just
go ahead,
told me it's not.
talk.
The therapist straight told me, like, you don't get to say that.
So
Go ahead.
if we let's say that I am triggered, right? So for me, again, put myself out there. I have been in an abusive relationship. So if you begin to raise your voice, party is done. I'm either going to become extremely combative, like I will hit you, not anymore, or as a former life, or I'm now, like I told you last time, you get very zen, you just start to listen, right? If I am there and you can recognize it, or I'm crying now because I'm so angry, or I'm scared, and now it's like, you know what? I can't give up though. I can't walk away. I can't do this because that means I'm accepting it again. So you have to sit through it. Even if you don't think that you're doing that, it is not for you to go, in my triggered state, you're triggered. Because now it's like, you're attacking.
Look at how you say it.
It doesn't matter how you say it.
well,
What I'm going to hear is,
sometimes-
na, you're triggered. I don't care how you say it. I'm triggered.
Sometimes some people, it is how you say it because if somebody's coming from a loving place, they're not coming, their tone is not, I'm not here to attack you. I notice that you are hurting.
That's not about to say that's not always true. I'm not rolling.
Yeah. The text messages, we've all, has everybody had like a text message, like conversation about a serious topic?
Yes, I hate that.
And it's
because that person is reading it however they yes. Facts.
That's your problem. We grown men and women.
I'm not going
Not rolling.
I'm not rolling either. It's a shared.
I'm with you, Chris.
I'm with Chris too.
I'm with you.
No, it's a shared issue because y'all got to obviously.
I agree there too.
The way you talk to each other is the reason why they read it that way. So that communication style that y'all had is the reason why I'm reading your message with these tones. Yes, it is, bro.
I think it could be from past trauma, from how you perceive it.
We just talked about her past.
It doesn't have to be the past
In
trauma.
a text?
It doesn't
in a
have
text, yes,
but
for
listen
sure.
to me. It doesn't have to be a past trauma. Let's say you and I are growing together.
Right.
Let's say we might have, and we decided we're going to. Now, when we get in an argument again, and I am absolutely.
I don't know what the Blake's argument.
Just roll with it. It's okay. Just roll with it.
You're taking the Willie's data points from the previous argument.
Yes.
And you're saying this is how he talks.
Correct. But let's say that that's happening, and we maybe have had an ugly argument before, maybe even about this, and now I'm always making myself look better. I'm trying to be better about, hey, I'm having real big feelings, whether I'm triggered or not. These are feelings you told me you want me to share with you. I'm learning how to share them, and you said you want to know here. And I'm used to this getting on your nerves. So now when you may even think that you're being calm and nice in a text message or even your actual delivery, I am still resonating with what you said before. That's how it's coming across to me because I am in a triggered state. And I'm not saying that that's I am not relinquishing responsibility for being triggered, right? What I'm saying is, as my partner, if you do know it and you do recognize it, sometimes we need to make sure my feelings are okay first, and then we get to the logic. We have to address both, but sometimes the order changes.
But can I ask it? And this is where I think Chris is going, though. It's like, I do agree with you. I think for me, like in an argument, if I start realizing that we have a lot of arguments and they come from traumas, like I have a fight or flight response. Like to Chris's point, I may look at a trauma and say, hey, maybe this trauma is too big for me. Maybe this is deeply rooted and this person's not willing to accept that it is coming from trauma. I may need to remove myself. And I think a lot of people never have that conversation, like Chris said, about compatibility. I think we have this idea that we should just stick through it or fight through it. And people don't really realize, like, hey, there are some traumas that are bigger than you, that are bigger than you're even to be able to stay in that space. And sometimes you leaving a space may help that person indirectly to be able to unpack that trauma.
I always say sometimes you are in the way and you're
Yes.
enabling certain behaviors.
Totally agree.
From your presence alone.
Totally agree.
So you're that person, like it's almost like that, like when people have good genetics, they don't go to the gym. Like you're not gonna go to the gym until you see yourself falling off. A lot of people aren't gonna go do the work until they see that it's really having an effect. This person's staying with me, so I'm covering the base.
Staying with them is acceptance.
Whatever, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna because you still here, even if it's
I was about to ask y'all if y'all need an overtime on this one.
No, we're in the next one already.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Damn.
No, I'm watching Cookie Monster, bro.
It's fire,
So
actually.
good.
But I think that's a good point, because I've had conversations with people where it's like sometimes people need to hit the ground. Some folks do need to feel rock bottom, and that can be really hard when you love somebody.
Yeah.
It can be really hard when it's like, I'm in love with you. I want to grow with you. I want life with you, but you are not going to be any better because you don't have to be.
right.
I'm always going to make this okay for you. And I don't know how to love you any less. And I don't want to love you any less. But you might be, like Willie said, this trauma might be way too big for us to do. And therapy can make some ugly things come up in therapy, for me at least.
So Chris,
I have been my worst.
So I have a question. You talk about compatibility checks. Like, at what point do we continue to have compatibility checks? And do you ever get to a spot in a relationship where we're no longer even doing compatibility checks and we do realize that we should be just working through some of it? Because I think you would imagine, like, maybe 5 years in a relationship, if I'm still doing compatibility checks, maybe I've been in the wrong space for a long time. So I guess my question is, like, how do we understand the difference between compatibility checks, like in a space, like when we get to conflict, versus like, hey, I need to stay 10 toes and work through this?
I think it's just your ability to compromise. I think it's simple. Like when you get to a point where you don't, compromise isn't coming easy for you, for this person, that's telling you shouldn't be there with that person. That's it. Once you saying I ain't doing that shit. All right, well, you just don't need to do the.
Oh my God.
Do the relationship, and it's okay. Let her or him go find somebody that wants to actually do the work for their relationship.
You're speaking of someone who's already done the work to get through all of the superficial reasons they might feel that way, right? Someone who's already gone through. What you're saying is, if we're both doing everything right, and we just simply don't want to compromise anymore. Not I'm being a brat or I'm being stubborn. Correct.
Yeah, but I'm also saying, like, relationships, we rolling through life. Life is happening.
Yes.
We're gonna continuously have compatibility checks.
Right.
It might be 10 years from now.
I think that marriage license should have to be renewed. I'm
not mad at that.
Like, I'm
Me
okay
neither.
with that. Because you might change, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you might discover new traumas.
We're changing every day.
So you're saying compatibility check is comprehensive of the entire space, like it never should go away.
It's an act. It's an ongoing act. I think it is. I think once you start getting to the point where you're not even checking, it's like that's when stuff starts to fall by the wayside. And you start. I always think anytime you think something's just a given, that's when you start to fall off.
You know what? I think we as people, like, we all have, like, we have decision biases that literally says, because I made this decision, I need to stand on this decision. So sometimes people get in relationships and now they don't want to tell everybody that they made a mistake. They don't want to tell everybody that it didn't work out. So now it's this idea of, like, doubling down on bad decision. And I think that's one of the things that are the most healthy in relationships. People are scared to leave.
You're triggering me, Willie, because that's 100% fact.
Yeah.
Like it's your ego.
Yeah.
But it's like your ego doesn't want to be wrong about the person and doesn't want to announce it, but you weren't wrong.
He's
Right.
definitely
You wanted to
talking
be with
louder
the
than he
person.
was
You got
earlier.
the person, that was a success. y'all didn't last forever. Like we was talking about a few episodes ago. Just because a relationship doesn't last doesn't mean it wasn't good.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you became a better person out of this relationship, that's where you needed to be.
It's the ownership. It's the ownership idea, right? Like this idea that we think we own someone versus saying, "Hey, we experienced this person for like a season, like a part of their lives. Like we don't own this person. Like it's okay to let something go."
Facts.
Like one of my relationships allowed me to see like some of the trauma from my relationship from growing up with my mom and my family, which we ended up separating for it, but I was able to go get help afterwards and focus on that to make me a better person. So
And then you won't have to go through certain things. I'm just saying this for people who know better, have open mind, and want to learn out of relationships. Now you won't have to go through that no more. You were going to go through it regardless.
Right.
Your code was meant for you to go through this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good that you went through it. So now you can move on to better things.
Like, going back to what Willie said, like relationship feel like a possession. Like even when you go through like different things that you own, like a car. If my car is going bad, I trade away that possession. Now that's the only reason I gave away that car, because it was a bad possession, right? I think relationships are treated the same way. I think people end their relationship and automatically think it was just a bad relationship. No, like you just said, you just experienced them for that season and that's it.
Yeah, and that own stuff is deep. You don't own anything.
So y'all would say the traumas affect how you like your partner?
Yeah, ultimately.
Hell yeah.
I think you can love them even after. I mean, to leave someone because they need to be better is that's love, and the like is you can get turned off.
I think like is more important.
You can get turned off. Like you could be like, "Yo,
like is like 10x more important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love is very fleeting.
Yeah,
And the hard part about that is the more you love someone, the more comfortable you get, the more your traumas will start to surface because you do feel safe and you can't let your guard down. And it's hard because now it's like, well, I love you, and yeah, I look traumatized because
that's the reason.
No, but not that. It's not even that. It's like I want to undo it, and I trust you. So yes, you see it more because this is who I am.
But that's the thing that I actually think.
Everybody in the world call me Nikki now.
Oh, and I'm sorry.
Thank you for pulling up on
I
something.
know. I know.
Right.
Okay, I'm
not
sorry.
as I was before.
No, but you know what? But you know what though? Like, but you said something that's dope. Like, I felt like I've been with someone who had trauma, but they communicated at early stage, and they used to always make sure that they knew that the trauma that they had, they weren't going out of their way to like beat me across the head with it. And if it did appear, if I did something that triggered it, they knew how to communicate that in a way to kind of like bring the guard down and level set the conversation. Then I've also been with somebody who had extensive amount of trauma, but to Chris's point, they never would accept it. They were always projecting, and the person that would always project and bring the trauma actually made me not like them even more. It made me feel like, hey, like this is like, for me, I didn't feel the space was even worth working through your trauma. I was almost on the point of kind of like what we said before the show, like, no, you should just stand on it and let's see in 10 years where this takes you.
And I feel like that's the part that
No, because we were talking. That was like a diss on the online.
Right. 50 years
that's
later.
what Chris is talking about as far as
Willie's
like,
a
you
funny
might
dude.
be in someone's way because there is a difference, and it kind of sucks for the traumatized person because sometimes you do not know what your traumas are. We don't always know what traumatized us.
Yeah.
We don't always know how it's going to show up. Like who's going to show up, what, like, oh, it just happened. Oh, damn, that really
It's embarrassing because you realize, like, dang, I've been walking around here like this whole time.
That right there, it is wild embarrassing.
It's embarrassing.
To be an adult and be like, that happened 10, 15 years ago.
So,
I'm
Yeah, it's
speaking
part of
of
life.
feelings. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong.
we all got to get on some commonality. They say, to be honest, and I believe it, we are still children.
Yeah, we're just tall.
Like even in church, they say exactly. No, we just grow.
I like that.
On certain stuff.
I want to identify as tall now.
Okay, you're a tall kid.
You're tall. Yeah.
Thank you.
You deserve to be tall. You deserve
Accept
to be
my
desired.
pronouns and my adjectives.
Tall is one of your
You're
pronouns.
tall.
I also think it's always about trauma. I don't think all of
They
us
gonna
are
cancel me for that.
traumatized.
No, all of us are not
We just
traumatized.
didn't have good examples either.
Well,
Like
we're
the
speaking
only-
of trauma specifically, though.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
We are. But
Having a bad example can be traumatic too, though.
But I think it is important to detail that everyone is not traumatized.
It can be traumatizing.
Some of y'all are dragging.
No, it can be
Right.
It can be traumatizing. Like
Yeah.
if I had a bad example from my parents, I can traumatize you off of that bad.
Yeah,
example.
you could think that's normal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because anytime I saw my parents arguing, my dad would bounce, and that's what made me that person that I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm gonna go, and you know what I'm saying. And then we trigger my my wife or my exes, and they think I was gone forever. I'm like, dude, I'm just up the street. I just need to get out of here. You know what I'm saying?
But that's your own trauma you
But
have
that
to
was
deal
a
with.
that was a
Yeah.
habit, and it might have been a trauma.
Yeah.
But that's what I saw. It's just what I saw. I didn't feel like, oh my God, that was scary. I just saw my dad.
Every trauma is not like this life threatening. You are gonna
Right.
die
Something
thing.
I
Yeah.
saw.
But I think that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't even in your mind you're like, bitch, I'm just
I thought that was normal.
I'm just up the street. Or like it's not as
Yeah,
serious.
but what Chris said though is super cool. It's like all trauma is like you said. Some people can handle other people's traumas better than others. So like that compatibility check still comes in. It's like there's some people where Chris could probably be in a relationship and skedaddle, and the woman could understand that, and they would understand your intent. They would understand like where you're coming from. So they're not going to penalize you for dealing with that. They may say, how do we work towards that? Or they may say, hey, I understand that. I want you to go do that, so that when you come back, you can be a better version.
The key word is understand, though.
Yeah.
And sometimes that trauma might not show its face until 2-3 years into the game.
But someone was saying, I forgot, somebody was trying to understand how do we differentiate the intent and the heart of the person versus the action.
I didn't say that.
By communication.
Somebody was going.
Did somebody say that in here? I don't think anybody said that, bro. You thought of those bars in your head?
No.
Chris said that sounded like him.
No. You know, no. It was Chris, but let me tell you.
It was not Chris. He just said it.
I'm about to explain what Chris was saying because I'm saying maybe I comprehend things different. When Chris,
You made it sound fire, right?
no.
Made it real pretty.
Yeah, right.
Chris
Definitely didn't say that shit, bro.
Willie?
guys, let me.
You go right in a second, bro.
This is the raw right now. Pause.
No, what Chris was saying, and what I thought he was saying is the idea of trust. When you trust your partner,
okay.
you will take away the idea of the action and sometimes understand their intent or what's in their heart. So if I trust you that you still love me, I trust that you care about me, I trust that you're not gonna do something against me when you leave. My first reaction isn't gonna be negative.
Bro, y'all
Benefit of the doubt.
are
Right.
saying all these things as if we're not talking about someone who's experiencing trauma.
But you gotta so if you can't step outside of yourself or your trauma, maybe we shouldn't.
We shouldn't be.
And that
Relationship, you know what
That's so black and white.
That is-
I ain't
but
rolling.
because
agree.
the problem with it, and again, if that's what
No,
you
bro, because you look, Chris just said I'd be leaving.
If
He
that's
don't want to
what-
call it a trauma, but it is.
if that's what you choose to do, I'm not here to tell you what you can and cannot accept. I'm not here to tell you what's good or bad for you. What I am saying is that relationships are a long time. If you decide to have a life partner, life is more than 3 or 4 years. Right. So.
Damn, you gotta be with somebody more than 3 or 4 years.
Oh my God! God
damn.
forbid, William.
No, Willie told us the average relationship is 6 to 12 months, and you have a peak at 6, and then it goes downhill from there.
Okay, to be in a healthy, long-term, familial building relationship, if you choose to have one of those and not be a cad, like William your whole life.
Damn, a cat.
Like that throwback, exactly.
A dastardly fellow.
Dastardly fiend.
What I'm trying to get
Devilish.
off, I guess, is sometimes traumatized people don't know.
That's true, too.
And sometimes you might not realize until life events change things. Right? Like
That's
buying
facts,
a
too.
house can bring up stuff you may not know
Sure
you had around
can.
money.
These are facts.
Having children might bring up stuff you don't know about your
These are
parents.
facts.
Deciding
Sure
to get
can.
married, deciding to move in together, or even just mundane things, going on vacation and not being able to make a decision.
Travel, yeah. Yeah.
That'll bring it
But
out.
really what I'm saying is when you do that, I might not. 3 years ago, we were great. We had very normal traumas. Oh my God, don't yell at me, right? Like it was very normal, right? But like 3 years in, it's like, ooh, one time my mama crossed her eyes at me, dog. And now people crossing their eyes, I didn't realize
bop
it really
them?
do not sit well on my spirit. Now I'm terrified, this, that, and the third, and I didn't realize it. It didn't manifest itself till right now. So if you love me already, right now, you gonna leave?
So Nikki, I have a question then. So this brings up the question about compatibility. Should people that have unresolved trauma get into relationships with other people who have unresolved trauma?
I think we all have unresolved trauma.
I don't think everyone. I don't. I'm not gonna.
I mean, there's a scale.
Everybody has something.
Yeah, there's something. You got some shit with you. Everybody does.
If you're not aware of the trauma and willing to work on it and actually humble yourself around it, then you shouldn't.
And I will say that I've been with persons, not saying that they were absent of trauma, but it's what Chris said about somebody who was at a level in their journey where they were able to step outside of themselves and be able to help and like somewhat aid in my trauma instead of them always having to think about themselves. I think you can get into relationships where people have gotten to a space in their journey where they're more in the, hey, I know I'm further along than you, so I'm willing to step out. I'm not willing to always try to win something. I'm not always trying to bring about myself. I'm willing to help you alongside this journey. And sometimes those are the more healthier relationships for somebody who has more unpacked trauma.
So he just answered his own question though.
It
was
His own-
self-validate where you are presently and where you are presently with your back backpack of traumas. When I win this argument, that means, oh, I'm at a good state, even with my traumas. No, bro, you just won against somebody in a certain sector that you had an advantage in. But that doesn't say
you're just
that
meaner.
you can't. That doesn't make you. That doesn't make you
More healed.
excluded from having to solve your own traumas. So that wanting to win the argument stuff is also a trauma response. I feel like I need to win because No, you were together now.
All right.
Y'all
Bro,
are together.
but
Y'all need to.
I said I need to win at all costs.
Yeah, but don't you
like trying to shoot everything?
I guess my question.
No, bro,
and this
dastardly.
is to
I
the
know.
women in the room.
I know.
This is to the women in the room. Though I felt like that, like when you date some women who are a little bit older, who have had experience in certain relationships and have probably gone to therapy, have started to do work on themselves. They seem to be somewhat easier to be able to see trauma in you and be able to step outside of themselves because they can say, hey, I've done the work, I've went to therapy, I've been in some of these relationships and I know where this ends. So it just seems like they have been more like aiding in some of the like arguments as far as positivity and helping you see where some of the missteps happen versus like a younger woman who's still probably more emotional. They really still don't understand the source of their trauma. They haven't been to therapy. So they're willing to go a little bit more up with you at that on the same arguments.
Willie loves telling us that he gets with all the 40-year-old Jones.
I did not.
He stays telling about the older Jones.
Discernment between the two
I live with a
experiences.
therapist and she points out stuff. I
Yeah.
live with her. She points out stuff. I don't take it the wrong way. I'm like, yo, okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yo, you my wife.
Yeah.
Well, y'all,
Like,
already,
but you know-
but that's
Like-
that's different. Y'all already become husband and wife.
But you know,
Okay.
Yo, and y'all done went through a lot of different shit to get to this
But
point.
even if it's somebody you just choose to be with, you're with them for a reason. Are you just with them just to clap cheeks?
Look-
Are you with them?
I hope not.
That's crazy.
No,
You
but
can
I'm
clap.
saying
That's a
you
big-
with them just to clap
no,
cheeks.
Chris is
You
right,
can't call
though.
out my traumas if I'm just with you to clap cheeks.
If you're with her to clap cheeks, you're not doing it right.
Yo, but Chris is right though. There's a lot of relationships that are built around
How you
that.
carry yourself, your mind, all this
Hold
and
up.
the third. You got a better view on me than I might have on myself. Yes.
Guys
Yes,
are out here wifing girls just to clap
Yeah,
cheeks?
yeah. See, I actually no.
House. We talked about that house.
Chris. No. I had this discussion.
That was a topic, bro.
No, wait, Chris. I had this discussion.
Just to clap cheeks, though?
Wait. I had this discussion
There's
last
some
night.
guys.
It's not
Wait.
just that. It's not that. It's like if we really think about it, even when we think about Red Pill, when we go out here in the world in our early 20s, nobody taught us how to date differently from middle school to high school to our adulthood. We use almost the same parameters. She's cute, she's funny, we have a good time, we have sex. Chris is right. People get into relationships and can even potentially marry with the same mindset that we had in middle school and high school. She's sexy, she's fun, I want to clap cheeks. At what point do we really make a shift in our dating intentions to really start talking about compatibility and business? Right, exactly.
You an asset.
So you're right. Is there a segment of the population that's probably sub 30?
Asset, Willie.
Yeah, I agree. Ask that. But from sub 30, you can't say that there are some people
That better
sub
not be the
30
book title.
that had a big base of their relationship being about some of the surface level shit, sex and dating and all that kind of stuff.
But
I never wifed a girl just to clap
Well,
cheeks.
even if we're
That's
talking
crazy.
about it's a great relationship, right? Let's say that two people
sounds insane.
in their 30s both have gone to therapy. Everyone's great, right? They're
Chris and Crystal.
I've never been.
No,
I've been a couple.
you're married.
I know. You're in therapy every day,
You
Deacon.
got therapy later.
But I think that even if you recognize all of your traumas, right, they're going to manifest differently every time you're with a new person. And you change as a person. Life experience will change you in general. That's supposed to happen, even in the best of circumstances. So how I react to things, is going to change. And I think that without being in your way, or without having someone in my way, and without it being unhealthy and all those good things, you as a partner have to be committed to going through the changes with me.
Look,
Especially if we're doing that, like, hey, I wasn't triggered by this before. Now I am, because of things that maybe we have gone through or things that I've gone through. Life didn't
that
stop
happens
when we
too.
started dating.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
My life outside of you still happens. So things still affect me. And if you love me like you say, that's not fair. If we have decided to make a decision to stay together and to work through this and be partners, and we're still committed to each
Made
other
vows, yeah.
at some point, even without vows.
Nikki,
if we
she
have
had
to
dudes
say-
before me?
I'm not just talking about. I'm just saying.
She had dudes before me.
She did, God forbid.
God damn it.
But we don't
not
say
the
their
only
names.
one.
Yeah, I know.
We don't say their names. But if we decided to be committed to each other, that commitment does include growing pains.
Right.
I from my experience in my early 20s, I'm just a very observant person. So when I'm like into you, I'm really observing you,
A
and I'll
therapist will call that a
notice
trauma response.
maybe, but I'll notice things. So I'm like picking up your algorithm, so I could tell. I notice you do these things, right? And so like letting them know, like, hey, maybe this is the reason why this blah blah blah. they were not willing to admit, and these are younger men when I was like in my early 20s, they weren't ready to admit the things that they were lacking in that is preventing them from being at the level that they want. Right. So like while I'm working on like healing or while I'm working on being better or self-aware, a lot of men, because I guess men can chime in, but like are prideful, especially when you're young.
Yeah, don't
you know,
speak
you don't.
for us.
Yeah, like what? No, like, but that's your partner. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's your girl. Like, she has the best interest in you. If I'm like, I'm not doing this in front of your boys. This is in private. I'm like, hey, I noticed these things. This is me looking out for you. If you're not ready to hear that or grow, then
You know how long it takes to not be trying to like impress your partner all of the time? Do you know how long it takes to be able to say that and be like, it's not that it's just you, but ooh, I don't have to be like super in front of you anymore. I can be this quote unquote W word that I hate. You know, I can
Whoa,
be
hold on. We don't know the word.
weak.
Oh, I didn't.
That
It
vulnerability.
didn't even register. How did you register that?
If we're being vulnerable with each other now, I can see your whole house for what it is.
Now
Not
I'm
every-
naked in front of you constantly, and it's a different kind of naked. It's an emotional nakedness. It takes a while to get there. I don't care how committed I am. I don't care how much we've gone through. Getting to that space is hard, especially in your early 20s, but also especially after bad relationships or never, even if they weren't bad, just not healthy. Getting to a place where someone's like, hey, I want to see you, show me.
That could be.
You're like, whoa, wait,
and
you
that could
sure?
be-
Because I see me and I don't know if I fuck with it. So I don't know if I mess with it. Like, are you sure that you do?
right,
You want me to
That could
show
be the
you? What if
double
you
whammy
leave
there,
me?
Nikki.
right.
Because it's a journey for you to get to the vulnerable
Yeah.
state, and then once you get there,
I gotta
I'm
take you
actually
with me
saying,
now?
No, now I'm actually saying there's some stuff wrong in here. Now it's a double.
I wouldn't even feel that vulnerable until you was like living with the person. Like living with the person, that shit different.
That's different.
Yeah, it's different.
Let me ask y'all.
And I still be trying to walk around like on some like, I ain't gonna lie to we was talking about for the pod, and I was telling him how when I put this shirt on, I ain't have it buttoned up at the crib, and I was like, yo, I should pod like this. And he was like, yo, Caitlin, I'll kill your ass. And now you in here, and I'm like, should I button up one more?
Exactly, yeah.
laughing
I wish you would have.
at all.
I'm trying to impress her
What
constantly,
button he
nigga.
got to be on? What button? He cool at his button right
Good. Yeah, okay.
She like, nigga, that's I don't know about that
You
button.
have to go home after this, right?
Right.
Like,
We would like to see you
I
next
was on
week.
Miami Vice the pod, nigga.
okay.
Okay, so what are some things?
No, do your thing. Something about shorts in the
That's gross. What are some things that can turn y'all off about your partner? Since we're talking about like and how important it is.
Oh, the lack of self elevation. Like
serious.
you want to keep striving
we're
to
being
be.
honest.
Oh, okay.
The lack of like the person not striving to be better, like
No.
doing better.
You said okay, so it's lack of like ambition, basically.
I guess ambition and leveling yourself up in different areas of your life, like wanting to be a better person inside and out.
So if your guy, you was with your guy for 5 years, and he's been climbing for 5 years, and he kind of hits a plane at 5,
plateau.
I'll bring it to your attention.
you would bring it to his attention.
I will hope that that's something he always wants to do, and I will bring it to his attention. Like, hey, you reached that plateau that you don't, and maybe he'd be like, I'm just taking a little break right now. I've been climbing. I'm gonna get back to it, but I'll remind him.
And does he just have to be climbing? Is the climb just financial? Can it be mental? Can it be climbing?
Yeah, it's inside and out. It's
okay.
overall. You want to be better. Yeah.
What about you, Ellie? What are some things that it could cause you to not like your partner?
I think if they had some of the negative traits from a former partner.
No,
That's very honest. That is very honest.
That's something we don't talk about either. Like what your partner has picked up from just that person.
Yeah.
The habits they pick up from that person.
Is that fair?
No, but
What
it's
do you mean
honest.
fair?
No, it's fair. He says some stuff that somebody else did. He might see that.
He's
in them and-
judging it. Like he's saying
Yeah.
that if you remind me of my old partner
Right.
in a negative way.
Okay, never mind.
Oh, how did you hear that, Chris?
I thought you were talking about stuff that they picked up from their
me?
No.
from their past. Their
Oh no.
No.
I mean, I'm just saying if there's a negative, like if you were in a former relationship and your girl like she was a liar, she was untrustworthy, and then you see
Oh,
that
okay, I see
your new person like having those same traits, that's a turn off for me.
Willie, what you got?
I think mine is just someone who's doesn't bring me peace. I don't like arguing. I don't like ratchetness. I don't like friction. I don't like women who are not really they don't really lean into like being compromising.
So you like a calm woman?
They're very calm.
Okay. Dang. This is not fair. You said what?
That I don't. What was the question again?
What are some things that have caused you to not like your partner?
not like. Just I would echo what Willie said. When we're not in a like calm, peaceful state, and we're Sienna,
Sienna, you beating yourself up now.
turn my mic off. Hey, go over there,
Be
please.
the audio engineer.
All right. But
Because she like, no, you can stay.
oh no, she definitely runs shit. Yeah, I would say that more like. Am I too loud now? Dang, Sienna.
Said, turn up, daddy.
Nah, I ain't turning up. That would be it for me. There's sometimes, and it was really, it's not a one-way street because I think most of our issues stem from how we talk to each other. So the things I don't like, I also do. So I had to look inward first, like, oh, am I talking this way? Am I presenting myself this way? And it leads to that, like we were talking about the traumas, like it taps into some of those other things that bubble up at the surface.
And can I go back what Chris says? Like I don't want no one to think it's like I'm saying like a woman needs to just be quiet. When I say
Clip that! No, clip it up! Clip it up! Shut up, bitch!
I said I'm not saying that.
No, nigga! We gonna cut that up!
Cut it up.
I'm just saying a woman needs to be quiet. Wow, Willard!
Women are prettier when they
I'm
quiet.
listening to you.
Wow!
Women are prettier.
When Chris said calm, I'm saying that there are certain women who have a calming spirit to them. So what I'm saying is like there's so much power in the woman that they have the ability to create like peace for you so you could be the best version of yourself. So we listen to a lot of women tell us to be the best leaders. They want us to go out there and provide. They want us to go out there and continuously elevate. But they don't realize that sometimes a woman can create an environment that's optimal for that man to become that. They can literally be the soil by which the man sprouts. But if you're just constantly creating friction, you're creating like anger, you're creating a lot of tension for that man. It sometimes does not, and I'm not saying some men can even overcome it, but some men can actually literally not become the best version of themselves if their partner is not equally yoked to them.
Your wife can be your biggest obstacle.
Bingo.
If her direction ain't right, she can be your biggest obstacle.
That's why I'm saying so my biggest turnoff would be somebody because I'm already like that. I don't need motivation. I need somebody to constantly create an environment.
Excuse me?
I don't even know men who are like
Somebody
that.
to clear the way.
Right. I need somebody who's almost making it optimal. Be that blind spot. Be that mirror. Be that person that's like you said, checking the room. The person that's saying, "Hey, be that person." Like that to me. So when somebody's constantly being friction or not bringing peace or always arguing with me, you're literally being the anti of what I need, the oxygen I need to be the best version of myself.
Some women don't understand that. They be like, "Why ain't he successful? Why ain't he winning?" It's because of you.
Right.
I'm never gonna give somebody all that credit. I ain't sorry.
You see, now you being philosopher.
No,
I'm trying to get.
I'm not being. You can do that. I'm just saying. I'm not doing that.
Chris, it has
Rule
to be.
number 9.
No, because I'm gonna call.
not being PC.
I'm gonna call Cap on Kadeem.
Nah, he's right though.
No,
I'm not being PC.
I'm gonna call Cap on Kadeem. If the closer you are to being one, the closer you are being married, we live together, we're in this relationship, and we're supposed to be equally yoked. You can't tell me somebody's equally yoked and then they're out of alignment energetically and they don't have an impact to your success. Yeah. I'm not saying 100%. There's not 100% of anything. But the more
that's all I was saying. I'm not gonna give somebody all the credit. Literally is what I said.
Everybody wants to talk this shit about being equally yoked. Equally yoked mean that you have a direct impact on my overall energy, the outcomes of my life. Either we detach or we attach. Which one is it?
Literally never used that phrase.
I agree.
I hate that phrase, equally yoked.
I'm talking about the world.
I agree with Kadeem. So you got to take responsibility for.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give him 100%.
That's to say it's not 100%. But
that's all I said was I'm not gonna give somebody all that credit.
No,
that's all I said.
But what I'm saying, we talked about being the best version of yourself. If I'm attached to you, because like for me, I've been in a relationship where we were not attached. So you're right. I didn't care about what you were doing. I cared about what I was doing. I was independent. You did your shit. I did my shit. We lived like that. We only saw each other at night. That we weren't equally yoked. So I was able to do my own thing. That doesn't mean I was the best version of myself. Imagine if while I was losing weight, if I was going to work, if I was investing, they were doing it with me. Could you imagine where we could have been?
Or you just had your woman. Sometimes
Bingo.
Women don't. Y'all are so powerful, bro. I was telling
Exactly.
Elliot about that. We were standing over here.
Yeah.
Like your woman could put her hand on your neck. She can. When your woman says, "Baby, I believe in you. It's okay. It's all good."
Yeah.
You don't know how. That beats me for like a few months. I'm good. I don't even know.
Yo, we're so simple.
No, but it's
Jesus Christ. That nigga said a few months. Like a month.
Chris, I mean, you get to a point where you could go. You could get to a point where you're with your woman, where you're literally talking to her about your finances. You could be talking to her about your fears. You could have all these things to where she could be that mirror to really help guide you and hone you to the best of your ability. Or you could be with a woman that you literally don't want to tell shit to.
Facts.
Yep.
All right, Nikki, what's some things you don't like that make you not like your partner?
I'm growing out of being one of those therapy snobs. So like,
Okay.
I don't it's not a deal breaker.
Oh, like if somebody's not in therapy, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't talk to you. You're not working on
I'm
yourself.
not that bad, but
Oh my god.
I just
You don't go to therapy?
I just think that everyone could benefit from therapy. So how they speak about therapy, I listen to. How they speak about their exes, I listen to. How they speak about taking their actions, right? If every time you tell me something bad you did.
What if she wants shit though?
I mean,
But that's none of my business.
that.
It's your business. You with me now?
No,
That
that's
lady,
none of
I
my
don't care
business.
about
Oh no, because we asked this question before. How responsible is your current partner for the trauma that they didn't help create?
That's what Elliot just used that as an example too.
How much are you responsible for that?
None of it.
And
So
that,
it's my fucking problem.
It's yours. And you should have dealt with that.
I
before
don't
you got
agree no
married.
more. I'm sorry, I don't agree. This book has my brain warped. I'm telling you, I don't. No, because bro, because that person is going to, they're going to share that shit with you, and you're going to talk to them about it, and then later you're going to tap into it.
do you know what I learned in therapy? Again, therapy snob. Here we go. There are some things that you can talk about and get off your chest that you cannot fix unless you're doing it. So some things are only
I'll
going
drop a
to
bomb for
fix
that too.
themselves in themselves. So people who are in relationship therapy without being in relationship, like there are people who do that.
Relationship.
No, they go and they want to learn how to be better in a relationship. That's
Yeah.
a real thing.
Yeah.
You really can't graduate it until you get in a relationship because all this stuff sounds good until now you're forced with the conflict.
apply
How you want to
different.
respond?
Okay, it's different when maybe I'll put it this way. It's different when you're talking about, hey, this is the result of this. I did this work before getting in this relationship, and this is the residuals left over that I continue to need to work on in this relationship, right? So it almost goes back to when we were talking about trauma, past trauma, like, hey, this is what I work on, but be aware that this is what I'm still working on in the
think
relationship, right?
recognition and work are different.
And right, but these are the results from the previous relationship. I don't need to know that girl's skin color. I don't need to know where she works at. I don't need to know where y'all had sex. I don't need to know, unless we are talking about just shooting the shits, but I don't have any need to know.
When I say that, I don't want to. I'm judging you if you
Crazy.
give me a dumping session about a
pocket.
woman you were with before me. If you spend time trash talking a girl you're with before me, well, you chose her.
Facts.
You
Right?
look crazy.
At some point,
I was
You look
stupid.
crazy.
at some point, she was amazing, right? At some point, she was.
No, she was never amazing.
But even if she wasn't, but even if she wasn't,
That's what be getting us.
but even if she wasn't,
I like you all the time. Now, I didn't like you until you walked through the door in that outfit. Now I like you again.
that's crazy.
Wow.
Leave me alone.
That's something dudes get caught up in. I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to tell you.
You're not wrong.
If she wearing a certain outfit,
You're not wrong.
You get like 10 things that week.
And some
You
women-
got on your
some
nerves
women
the
know that
whole
too.
week.
Some
But
women
you're
know
not
that.
ever gonna talk about it because you know that outfit
Yeah.
is my weakness.
Maybe I'm too much of a girl's girl, but I don't want to hear you dunking on your ex.
No, I agree.
I
I'm
think
just-
less of you.
I agree with
I
that.
think-
But you
like,
know,
what is you doing? If you're sharing a trauma with me, that's one thing. If you're trying to say, hey, this
That
happened
bitch won't
and
shit.
this was really hard and we struggled with this, that's one thing. But I don't want to hear how this bitch ain't do this and this nigga.
No, I think that's weak. But you know what?
Yeah.
Though? I think where I've struggled at, like it's kind of like the middle ground is I'm probably someone who doesn't want to share much. And so I think when I do end up right. But then I do understand that sometimes I do want to explain to someone that I care about things that happened to me in the past. Not even just to say I understand all the trauma. Maybe they can give me game on things that are unresolved. Maybe they can, like, especially the right one, I can say this and they can be like, well, then you did this. I've had some dope conversations where women have called me out and I didn't even realize that was something that happened in the space.
So,
And I'm an overshare. I share too much. Willie tells me all the time. You didn't need to say
versus honesty, dog.
transparency versus.
But to me it's
You ain't gotta
like
say everything.
yeah, no, I mean there's different levels of honesty, right? There's brutal honesty, there's proactive honesty, and then
Why
there's
does
situational.
brutal honesty exist?
What is that?
Brutal honesty is that I'm saying
that
this-
harsh truth.
Your lips
no, it
are
does. No, it does.
chapped.
Because if I tell you that's a trigger, that's
No.
That's to be honest.
The word brutal has a meaning.
It does. No. But
Why is your honesty brutal? Even if what you're telling me I don't appreciate. Even if it no,
You said it
but it doesn't
earlier.
have to be.
I could just
That's
be
what I
honest.
just said earlier in the pod when I said, "Yo, I should be able to point out your triggers." You said, "No, you should not."
No, that's I said
honesty.
when. No, I was talking about when you do it. When you do it
but
matters.
That's brutal honesty. Then
it
you're
is
making-
brutal honesty, but the word brutal means almost that you're looking
But
to aiming to hurt.
no.
Yeah.
That's what that word
brutal
means.
honesty. No brutal.
All right, now I don't like- we didn't-
No, the word has a definition.
Yeah, and we're gonna look it up.
Dog.
Yeah, I mean,
It's not in how you receive
I
it.
agree, and you could have intentional
In a savagely violent way. Jesus. That just made it even more like
I
wow.
can say something.
Jesus. Savagely violent.
We're not talking about that. We're not talking about someone receiving something poorly, right? That's not what we're saying. And we're not talking about when is the appropriate time to tell someone something.
Yeah.
We're not talking about that either. What we're saying is there are people who, their friend, we're not putting in a relationship, your friend will be like, yo, how my makeup look? Bitch, you look fucking nice. There's no need to say that. What you can say is,
That's a woman thing. I would want Willie to tell me the truth. I'm sorry.
yeah, but maybe, but that's brutal though. That's
You know
brutal,
what?
honestly.
No.
You do that.
Hold on. I'm rolling because when Willie told me we were walking one day. This is back when I was like 50 pounds heavier.
Husky.
Yeah, it was Husky Deem, and me, him, and Little Willie together. And he said something. Lil Willie said something to me. He said, "Lil Willie, don't listen to him. He's fat. He's out of shape. He just don't boom boom boom." And it didn't sound brutal to me. Somebody else would hear that as a brutal honesty, but I didn't. Ooh, look. Now I'm in line with Chris.
Come on, Mike.
I mean, it's already low, but
Yeah, cut it.
no, but part of the receiving part is where it gets brutal. I do feel Chris on that because that somebody else would have heard that and been like, "Yo, why he say that to
I
him?"
think it also depends on who's delivering it too, though.
And I hate that
Because
people
Willie can
talk
say
to
that,
just
but
like
if
that.
somebody else said that, you might not have took it that way.
No, I think it would have took it that way from anybody.
yeah, okay.
Every person that told me I was Husky, I wasn't offended.
you don't know?
Question, Dean.
Yeah, was I? I mean, no. Even the person. So Bricks didn't know me. He met me as Husky Deem. I didn't take it personal
He called
when he
you
told me what. No, he just thought that's who I was.
No. So what I'm saying, if he would have met you and said, "Yeah, you kind of husky, bro."
When he met me, I was. So he didn't have to say it. That's how he felt about me.
Can I give a?
Oh, because when I would talk about working out, he would tell me what I can and can't do.
Can I give these stories are great, by the way. But anyway, but can I
No, I'm gonna
honesty?
take that shit to the. grave.
So
brutal.
I think honesty has to do with the intent and the desired outcome you want of the relationship. To Nikki's point, if you really look at the word brutal honesty means that my intentions are to hurt you with this honesty.
Yeah.
So I think you have brutal honesty no matter what space it in is if the honesty was designed with the intent based on the outcome to be brutal. I'm doing this to intentionally hurt you.
Trying to get a clip,
So,
that's
so-
crazy.
And so I think at the end of the day, no, but it's no.
I'm talking about him, not you.
I've honestly have a friend of mine that actually has an honesty course, and we went to the different levels of honesty. And what it's saying is like honesty should always be based on the desire outcome you want of the relationship and the intent. So my honesty with you should be based on what I actually want. If a waiter comes to me and he's overweight, and I just go out of my way to say you're fat, I'm being honest, but I don't desire a relationship where I'm really trying to give him feedback on his life. I desire for him to take this order. So for me to go out of my way,
Bro, this is a crazy example.
no, it's the truth. No, it's really the truth. It's really how
That
people
nigga said my desire is for him to take this order. You fat fuck.
but I'm saying, so if I go out of my way to disparage him or to degrade him by calling him overweight and fat, that means I desire through my honesty to be hurtful.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, I think we all should have to look at honesty as based on like, what is my true intent and what do I want from this space? Honesty should be aligned to like, hey, so if I'm in a romantic space, I desire to build a better communication with you, so my honesty should match building and growing the relationship.
Facts.
And that's why all of us have things to gain from going to therapy.
I agree with y'all. If you in a relationship, you should have the intention to communicate in a
No, I
way
got you.
that your partner can receive it. But I also think, I missed the thought.
Well, I when I was dating a guy and when I used to date a guy, his father was very verbally abusive to his mom, so he thought that was how he was supposed to be. And I was like, you realize you picked up some skills from your father.
That's a word.
Not skills, but some habits,
Traits.
traits
Yeah.
from your father, and you saw it, and you are from him. That now you utilize in our relationship. That could be, and you say is brutally honest. I think you need to go to therapy.
And
to
men
work out some
might
of those.
be avoiding therapy now.
Oh, Dave, for sure. Because he told me, I said, have you thought about going to therapy? He was just like, no, I'm good.
She sped right
I'm
past
like,
it.
but you stressed out. But
Zoom.
you're stressed. And
Right back. Give and go.
but you're stressed and you
V, pass the ball back.
He trying to pivot.
One day y'all
gonna
gonna
work
respect my storyboard. One day y'all gonna respect my
when you
storyboard.
introduced it.
She did, and then she was like, "Nobody's listening." And
One day y'all
I
gonna
V
respect
threw
my
it to me. I threw it
storyboard.
back. V was like, "No, kick it back. I'm gonna shoot this jumper in the corner."
Bro, Nikki
Oh,
said, Nikki
sorry.
said like 3 things about therapy. I'm like,
One day y'all gonna respect me.
go to the next one.
To the next clip.
sorry. Lo siento. Sorry.
Why are men avoiding therapy? Yo, she was about to go. So I was like, yo, kick it back.
I don't like men who go to therapy.
I was a ball hole.
5 minutes ago.
You did?
Yeah, I know we did. We saw it.
When I said to you,
We've been segueing for a minute.
Y'all, if y'all want me, do I have the power to segue?
Everybody does. It's on the board in order for y'all. She wrote it in order for y'all.
Spend time
No, but-
fleshing out this.
Why are we having these meetings?
Sorry. I feel like
I'm trying to get organized. They won't fuck with me. Yeah, she covered the mic and was like, I'm trying to segue, I know. And I was like, okay, I got you. I heard you, but I don't know if they heard you. And then I was like, thank you. Boom. Kick it back. Oh, boom. No.
I thought she heard that. She was like, therapy. I was like, ooh, okay.
All right, anyway. Sorry for that segue intermission talk track.
Speaking of therapy,
Perfect. Woo! Cooking.
Thank y'all so bad.
Most men avoid therapy because most therapy approaches are not designed to help the male brain deal with pain or find solutions. That makes men believe therapy is worthless. Male depression is usually based on feeling helpless, powerless, and unable to affect one's life or environment. Therapy models focus on helping men feel heard and loved instead of restoring their sense of personal power. Men need solutions, not just feelings.
Absolutely. And we are churning out here in the United States an overwhelming number of therapists who do not have the skills that they need or the experience that they need to provide lasting solutions that will undiagnose you in the long term. When you get a man into that system, men would rather kill themselves than sit there and say, I am disabled. I must have medical assistance for the rest of my life. And all I can do is sit here and talk about my feelings endlessly for the next 10 years while paying $10,000 for the privilege. Men are looking for solutions and they're looking for guidance in how to apply those solutions. When you give them those things, men will do just about anything for you.
Most
React.
what was that last part? He said you'd give them something and men will do.
If you give
about-
them solutions, they'll do just about anything for you.
I'll start us off. I think, in my personal opinion, that men.
Lean closer to them. I was trying to
Say it,
subtly.
Nick.
I just want us
I
to
think-
get out
I
of the
think
habit
men-
of doing that.
The difference between men and women is we sit with reality every day. I'm gonna speak for all men. I think men sit with reality all day. We don't try to override it. We don't try to repress it. We sit with it all day. I think that therapy, what it presents to you, are certain questions you should ask yourself, certain tools you should be presented. I think we know we have certain tools. I think it's the fact that we don't have a good direction. We don't have good placement. We don't have good purpose.
You don't know how to utilize the tools?
Right. You don't know how to utilize the tools. And I think there are certain ways that you can communicate as well outside of verbally. I think certain men or men in general, we're not the most verbal people. Y'all know that just from dealing with us. We're not the best with verbal.
Some of y'all love
I think
to talk. I don't
therapy
know.
for some men, for some boys, can be a sport. It can be art. It can be music. It can be something that the man is actually using his hands for, something that's actually giving him a purpose. That can be therapeutic for men. I just want to start us off with that.
No, I agree. So I think to piggyback on Chris's like idea of like us sitting in reality, I actually go to therapy, and I think for me, I'm very critical of myself because I live in reality. I'm very like observant. I'm very like hard. Like I'm driven. So I'm constantly like checking myself on a lot of different aspects of my life. So my original reluctance to go to therapy is like listening to somebody tell me things that I already tell myself every single day. Somebody giving me this feedback. And I'll be honest with you, my first couple of therapy sessions, I felt like I was talking to myself. The first question he asked me was like, "Why are you here?" And I'm like, "I don't know why the fuck I'm here." People
That's
say
your
we should
job.
go. Lots of people say we should. But it was like that was my experience the first time. I felt like literally like we say, like even in the medical field, that people really are not good at being able to help you unless they are able to like ask questions and at least understand your symptoms, right? So a therapist is only as good as the data you provide for them to be prescriptive. So originally it was like, man, I'm just talking to myself. Eventually I was able to get to talking through things that he was able to give me different perspectives than I would have came onto my own. But I think my initial reluctance, or why I might have avoided it, is like I didn't want to sit up here and have somebody put a mirror to me because I do that to myself every single day.
Bro, I think the reason why, and I'm just going off Google, guys, don't attack me. I think the reason why men lead women in suicides and women lead men in depression, which should be, you would think the one that leads in depression would lead in suicide, but I think when men are depressed, we would rather quit the game than be a failure. You know what I'm saying? Than rather sit in the depression or sit in the dark. We're like, oh, we'll just quit the game. If I don't have a purpose, I'm just going to get out of here. So I think that's why therapy, just the traditional therapy isn't, I'm not gonna say it's not great, but it's not the end all be all. Yeah, men should go to therapy, but then just for both. You should go to therapy, but then your therapist is gonna give you things that you need to do.
What do y'all think about the post? It was basically saying that the normal traditional therapy like tactics they don't help the male brain.
And that's kind of what I'm getting to.
Like,
It's kind of like, remember that I sent you the pod on Rough and Tumble play?
Mhm.
Why it's vital.
And
I think, I'm not saying that that's
Jordan Peterson
aligned, but I think he was saying how when you're playing with your child and you're play fighting and it's giving them the limiters, it's giving them actual empathy, and it's showing them how to conduct themselves in real life. It's actually giving them showing them how to establish boundaries. And I think that's key for men too. That's why I said something about the sports or the boxing, or it's about, we live in reality. We know what's wrong. Like Willie said, he assesses himself all day. Even the bums out there, they know they're bums. Certain men, like out there, there's delusional men, but most men, for a good majority of men, they know that they're not
know where they rank
in life.
Yeah.
So I think it's just about helping men channel energy. I think that's what we need to do. I think the purpose, actually giving men a job or giving them a place in this world, is actually what's going to help them the most.
What about the guy who does have a place and he has a family and he offs himself? You know what I'm saying?
And even just want to alter language there, you have a place. It's showing you where it is. Maybe I don't want it to be giving you that. You have that.
I agree.
Right. So it's maybe you don't see it. Maybe like how, because that was a barrier for me in therapy. I'm the meanest person to myself. There is no one who knows how horrible I am more than I do. So that was a fear of mine. Like, I know I don't know how to talk. I know all these things. Who wants, like, but then you sit there, and for me it was, what is your goal? And I think it's probably what your therapist was asking you too. But it was to be better at such and such. And like you said, the first couple sessions you're sitting there and you're just like spilling your guts out to this stranger, which is easier than you think it is, believe it or not. A stranger who has no idea who you are, no biases. Like, you're never going to see him in real life. It does get very easy to spill your guts to them. But as you do that, then it becomes the things that you need from it and those different perspectives. I think that we have, I think right now.
Are you ready to pod?
I think that because men have not traditionally participated in therapy, I think that's what's created that handicap of knowing how to reach y'all best.
It said men's depression normally stems from like hopelessness and not being able to control your environment. What do y'all think about that?
I can see that.
I agree. I think, as the population increases and how inflation increases, the cost of living and all that stuff increases, it's going to get worse because jobs are decreasing, or are they? Are they decreasing or increasing? Who knows? But
it's a folly. They don't know.
I think that's something. And then I think it just shouldn't be economic based. Like what you're saying, Nick, is deep, and I agree wholeheartedly. That's why I'm a believer in God for real. I think that gives you the placement off rip once you have a relationship with God. I think we are too detached from faith, and we're too engrossed in this society, which has a finite amount of placements for men to help propagate the society. So where men are feeling helpless, they're feeling like they're not contributing and all this stuff, instead of looking internally and saying, who am I? What do I want to do? What do I like to do? And just doing that. I think that those depression rates spike because we're assessing ourselves in our place in this society and how we're helping a society that doesn't care about us.
And a friend of mine that stays in Houston, he was calling me, telling me that he was trying to stop dating. He doesn't need to date right now. He doesn't need to. And he went out there and he started dating a girl. And he was like, because it was cold outside, and he mistreated her, knowing that he let her on, telling me, laughing about it, that he let her on, knowing that he didn't want to, and he hurt her. And I'm like, that's not funny. And I was like, and you knew you didn't want to do that. And he was just like, well, I feel like this and that. I was just like, do you feel, he said, I felt ugly about doing it. I said, have you thought about going to therapy? I don't need it. I said, you just said you did something that you know you don't want to do, but you did it anyway. And you keep doing it, and you've done it in the past. I was just like, but you don't need therapy? You don't need to do nothing about that. You just going to continue to do it. You know it's a problem. He said, well, I know it's a problem. I said, there's different stages of therapy. Some people are not even aware. You're aware, so you have something to go to therapy like, hey, I do these things. I don't know why. I would like to fix this. Is something that I don't agree with. I don't want to be anymore. He was just like, well, I just don't think that therapy is just there to manipulate you. Yeah, and to undo that.
Let's talk about
talking
that.
about manipulation.
I said it is positive manipulation for you to see things clearly and look at your actions. But I've heard that wasn't the only case. I've literally heard guys tell me that there's something that they can't stand about themselves and they don't know how to control it. And I'm like, when you go to therapy, I don't need it. What is wrong?
But I think that speaks back to the feelings that they have when they're depressed, though, right?
Yeah.
Because therapy is, I think that the world is getting better about how they view it, and it's becoming much less taboo, right? But it still is a mark of
Weakness.
ailment or something's wrong. So if you're already feeling like something, again, with men, if you feel like something's wrong with you already, and depression shows itself as helplessness, unable to control your environment, yes, you do need therapy. But I can see how your mind goes to another thing. I can't even control myself. So I got to go to therapy and admit that I can't even control how I date.
Let me tell you how stupid the weakness being tied to therapy argument is.
Very.
That's like men. That's like me saying, "Oh, y'all go to the gym. Y'all niggas weak. Y'all working on y'all strength.
You going to get your teeth clean?
Y'all obviously y'all weak.
You
Y'all
going to
ain't
get
been
your
working
teeth
on it.
clean? You going to get a physical?
It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like that. Just speaking to the point of the the topic
Why you
or
don't go?
whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking as a person that's avoided therapy, like I've avoided therapy for the longest, and I'll admit I was afraid of it. I was afraid of it, and I called it weak to make it sound like to make it seem like I was stronger. You know what I'm saying? I called it weak for a long. That's weak. That's weak. You depressed. Oh, that's weak. I'm emotionally strong. Like, but coming here and listening to y'all, like week by week, year by year, whatever, talk about therapy, I'm like, man, no, they're actually getting something from this. Like, they're way more emotionally stronger than I am. Yeah. So it encouraged me to go to therapy. So I appreciate y'all. I want to thank y'all for that.
I do think it's something to the post saying that the normal practices don't lend to men, though. I do. No, for real.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, if it's something that like guys do, like, okay, that's why the red pill community is flourishing, because those guys are giving you actual action. Like, hey, do this, go do this, go do this. It'll make you feel better about you. That's like step one. And in therapy, like, you might not, they want to just talk about your feelings. Well, bro, I feel like shit because I don't have shit going for myself right now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's like almost full circle. And they find these guys on the internet that help them build up some level. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
But does therapy not give you a solution? Okay, now that we know that, and we see where that comes from, and it stems from these habits, then you need to avoid, this is your homework. This is what you need to do. You have to get there.
Yeah, you're giving homework.
Yeah.
I think that there are some... I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
Man, come on.
One,
oh shit!
Don't
overhype this opinion.
Clip it up.
I think one, women have dominated therapy and mental health spaces for a long time.
I can't.
So it does more so feed into how we process things. But I do think that as we have begun to normalize therapy, which is a very important thing, that we have also normalized becoming a therapist. And some people who think they want to be a therapist probably just need more therapy. There are a lot of people, and you see it a lot online, and it bothers me deeply, right? Because it's specifically done to
It's like the police officer.
I mostly interact with black people, so what I see is it's specifically done to black men. Therapists, there are a small group of very loud therapists, let me be clear about that, who speak really disparagingly of men in general and how they do things and how they're coming into you to receive help and how are they maybe receiving something or that they're bad at this and they know they're bad at it. And they come to you and you get on the internet and tell the whole world how niggas ain't shit.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Therapists?
There are therapists.
No, they I've seen them. They get
There are
canceled.
therapists who do that and will make content out of it.
Yeah, they do.
And it's like, well, yes, men don't want to go to therapy if that's how you feel about them. And I know, small minority, whatever, loud minority. But at the same time, I wouldn't want to go to therapy either if every time I saw a therapist, they were talking about me as a group, how useless I was or
and
how
that's
are the weakest.
unfortunate.
It is. It's
really
unfair.
unfortunate. I have two friends that are therapists, and they will admit that majority of the people that are broken, she said, they be like the most broken people be the men, and they be coming from like these ridiculous marriages that are farce. Like,
so can I?
That's common practice. I would like to say that. You was cooking, but I would like to say that is common practice with therapists. They do have to go to therapy.
Yes.
Can I share just a question? So is that why a lot of people, when they go seek therapy, they look for therapists that look like them or that have the ability to identify with their journey? Like, so like when I started therapy, I intentionally looked for a African American man. to be my therapist, because I wanted to have someone tap into the men journey of this like mental health, aspect of my life. Whereas like I probably wouldn't feel as comfortable talking to a minority woman, because I do think that while you may be trained in therapy and helping me mentally, there may be certain things that just are just natural, that you may not necessarily resonate or be able to provide your experience in the same way.
I think that's very helpful. I think that that also speaks to what goals you want, right? Like, I used to have a female therapist, and now my therapist is a male, because I'm specifically working on how I treat men and deal in relationships. So it was like, okay, I should probably be talking to a black man about that.
Intentions, I love that.
That's so good.
Okay.
So like, I think that what
I didn't mean to hit both of those.
should matter. And I also want people to understand that therapy is a lot like dating. You might not.
Oh yeah, you got to mesh with them. They got to.
And your first therapist might not be it.
Yeah.
Your second therapist might not be it, right? And a good therapist, you can say that to, and they'll give you. You can tell them why, and then they'll give you a reference, like, hey.
I agree. I'm rolling with y'all.
Yeah.
But I think it's a slippery slope too, because you can find somebody that you're too compatible with. Now they just feeding you yeses, and you not wrong, and all this stuff. Like I'm just saying.
No. Absolutely. I think that when I talk about that, I just don't mean someone you're completely aligned with. Like, you should be, if you're not being confronted in therapy, you probably shouldn't be there. If you're not being challenged in therapy, if you're not being made to be if you're allowed to soft talk yourself in therapy, I want to be careful with that, because sometimes you might need to be softer with yourself. But if you're allowed to shirk accountability in therapy, you should avoid that, right? But also, if you get in there and just your spirit don't open up, and you're like, I don't want to tell you anything, your therapist can't help you if you don't talk. And if you're not comfortable talking, then leave.
Yeah.
And me personally, my therapists live in a different state than we do. I am very big about, I don't want to ever run into you at the Wawa. I don't want to ever see you. I need to know that you're.
For something. Like, okay. See how you
We'll talk about this on Thursday.
All right.
But because for me, because of my pride, the stranger part of it is important. My therapist needs to be a complete stranger who will never interact with anyone I interact with.
And that's weird. That's strange, yo. What? Just because I think we get, when like a stranger talks about you, you'd be like, yo, who you talking to? You don't know me from a can of paint. But you're saying the stranger approach helps with that.
Because you don't know me. I'm just telling you.
I'm gonna go back to the couples thing. Why can't the person that we think knows us the most say stuff like this?
I am not afraid to disappoint my therapist. I do not care if I disappoint him. I do not care if his opinion changes of me. I do not care if he wants to end our therapy sessions. I will find a new. I am paying you for a service.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's fair.
But as my partner, in the long run, I like my therapist. No, I don't know.
I bang with it because it's honest.
Yeah. No, it is honest, but part of the nonviolent communication is being able to give those truths. Hear somebody else's truth and reality, not take it super personal, hear it for what it is, and not make it like...
I am in therapy to get there.
Yeah, I feel I had to do a couple mushrooms and read a book. Them shrooms, bro.
It's therapy,
but even then, like even what Kadeem was talking about, which is utopia, 99.9% of people still can't get there, because at the end of the day, it's what Nikki said. I actually agree. We always are going to have some type of self-consciousness about how our truth is received and how that can change. And the level that Kadeem is talking about, it to me is like a Jedi level, is where you can be so passionate about the truth that you're even willing to accept how your truth may be experienced, and actually accepting that people are going to leave you because of your truth.
I think but because I walk around like that for the most part. I'm like super open with. I'm super open with everybody anyway. So now it's like, okay.
No, but it's different. It's different. I'm talking like what Nikki said. That's the next level of truth. I'm talking about truth like on some shit like, hey, like I like to fuck women on Tuesday and Wednesday, and even though we've been in a relationship, I fucked these kind of women last week. This is who I am. That's a different level of honesty when you're willing to really sit in the truth to the point where you're nowhere near like you're okay with this person leaving, but you're so passionate about the truth. And I had this conversation with my friend Marco to the point where when he was like telling me like, hey, when you get so passionate about your truth and you're willing to accept that people may not like you because of your truth or people will leave you, that's when you know you're passionate for the truth, that you're willing to stand in it. And there a lot of people can talk about the truth. Everybody has levels to it. Some people have like truths. Some people give you 70%, 80%. When Nikki's talking about, when I can stand so far deep in my truth that I'm willing to just sit there and let you just sit there and tell somebody I love and I want to be with to just go. But I said, at least I told them the truth. A lot of people are not there. That's very rare.
See, but I've been walking around, and Willie can attest to this. I've been walking around with you might not like Kadeem anyway from how he talks. So now it's easier for me to be like, let me change how I talk.
But I'm even talking about different level. Like that's like surface levels. What I'm talking about is what Nikki said is like when the truth even scares you.
Oh yeah, no.
That's God, bro.
Dude.
For me, I feel like that's God.
Yeah.
That's what God is trying to tell you. God's nothing but the truth. That's it.
Y'all are
Once we live
conflating
in
all
that,
this shit,
we-
dog.
we-
When you get in a relationship, it's some stuff you do not want to admit in front of your partner. I do not care how evolved you think you are. I do not care how long you've been together. You care about how your partner receives you. Even if you're comfortable, even if you think, okay, I always want to make sure they are equipped with enough truth to make a decision. Even if that's a very real.
I'm rolling with y'all.
So I don't understand why you're like, oh, you got to tell them everything and it shouldn't matter. It does
I'm
matter.
not saying that.
Yeah, I didn't say that either.
You know, I'm not saying tell them everything.
We know
but
you got a
I'm
problem
saying-
with that. Please.
But I think that
the
fear,
truth?
That fear is also
Too
the
much of
fear
it.
you have with yourself.
Oh, you talking about me saying it?
We have issues telling our partner stuff because we have issues telling ourselves.
Selves.
No.
I don't know. I'm
I
rolling
think
with
that's
Chris.
part of it. But also, don't clip this is not true. Let's say that I might have
Clip it up.
Let's say I might have done some whole shit back in the day.
Okay, you did some whole shit back in the day.
So you did some whole shit back in the
You did some whole shit.
Time ago too.
There's a lot of women who've done a lot of hoe
Did some
shit.
slick-
And they don't tell us nothing.
I'm not
Continue.
Exactly.
You better not be on that Freaknik DVD.
Oh shit!
I was free.
Nigga, I'm going to a pot. I'm getting in front of it.
You better. If you on that Freaknik documentary, nigga.
I see a chick in pink shorts and a white tank top.
That was not me.
I know they look like.
No, you know what's funny though?
Get in front of it,
I'm gonna let you
Nikki,
get
get in front of it.
one of the players' moms that we coach. She was like, "Hold up, what they doing with that Freaknik documentary?" Asking for a friend. I was like, "Yo, the moms we got on. Yo, I'm telling you, they're crazy. They're out of
Which
pocket."
is crazy because we're so focused on the moms in it and not the men who are doing that stuff to them. But
That's because they're not going to.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't know what button to hit for that.
Heavy rolling with you so much.
God forbid.
They scared too. They scared too. They scared. They scared because they was in relationships at the time. They probably still
Exactly.
in
Who
there.
they married
Hey,
to.
babe,
Oh,
babe,
I got a sad tambourine.
No, everybody's worried about seeing their mom. They're not worried about their dad being the one.
I know.
Wow, why is it so?
She does. She
No, we're gonna say
No, she jumped all the way. Like, what the? Their moms know what they was doing at Freaknik.
What do you think happened at
Oh,
Freaknik?
wow.
What you think happened on the Joe Pro tape? If you end up on the Joe Pro tape, you think I was. No, the cameras was out.
Right.
Women start turning up when the cameras come out. Oh, y'all not gonna get on here and start lying.
I got you. I'm with you.
Chris us.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Took us way here and then took us
Nick, all right, so Nick, what you're saying is
SA, first of all, don't say that word on my pod no more. SA.
No, yeah, we can't say
It's like
vape and all
Yeah.
that.
inappropriate feeling and touching.
what you're saying is, and I'm just asking a question.
I said what I said.
I'm just asking a question. So when a chick runs in a group of 30 men and bends over and starts
Going
Throw it
crazy.
in a circle.
you should not touch her at all, right?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
That's her. That's her body.
Is that fair?
That is not the condition of Freaknik.
It doesn't take away from a man wanting to, but that's not your property
called
because
Y'all
you're
been to
doing
Bike
that.
Week?
It's called
No,
freaking.
And
no,
it was
no.
that there too. I'm
wow.
not. That word has a.
Oh, my fault. SA. I'm supposed to. I'm the leader. SA.
It's called
Radio rules.
shit is called
Freaknik.
So let's take the same scenario. Chick
crazy.
comes in a group of 30 men. She starts bending over and making that thing clap. And the dude grabs her in a certain area and starts rubbing her there. And she doesn't stop.
Well,
Doesn't stop
that's
talking.
That's still-
at that point that is
that's
a
still
consent.
SA?
That's a consent.
It's-
That's
it-
not consent. Consent is I am okay. Consent
No, at that-
man.
no.
Yo,
Wait a minute,
2023 is
They
different
better not
than
put this doc
1990.
out.
It's a different environment now.
But
So
wait,
Clearly.
the
I
only-
want to move on because I'm starting to look at y'all differently in real life. So
No,
we're gonna
Hold up.
Wow, Nick-
First of all, we weren't there. Why would you look at us different?
Nikki's like, your cousins were there.
Your dad's were there.
Wait. Only reason why if she moves and be like, hey, don't touch me, that's. But when you're like, oh, you want me, and you, that's
bro, she hopped in the middle for a reason.
That's consent at that point. But if she's just twerking and the guy comes up on her and she says move and he doesn't stop, then that's not.
If Chris pushed up on her, she looked back and was like, oh, that's Chris Featherson, and she continues. That's consent, bro.
Because of this episode, now we have to bring in a actual lawyer in here next week.
I know.
To describe consent for because of
wow.
You're welcome. Clearly, I need a lesson in it.
Are you gonna watch the doc?
No.
Oh man, I'm watching the Freak Nigga.
I don't think I'm gonna see my uncle up in there.
I want to see.
Let's see.
Look at so and so mama out there wilding for respect. Have you been to Bike Week?
No.
Come on,
I
man.
had a bike week without a bike.
Look, I bet Chris ate. I had a bike. He probably ate better than me.
I had to call my mom. My mom was like, "What is that? A song?" I said, "Oh, you won't dare." Good.
Wow. S.A.
And none of which I'm going to share with you people.
You say, come on,
my original point.
Wow.
You know what, Nikki? I agree. It was all essay.
How it can be difficult to have some conversations with your partner.
Oh yeah, you was talking about hoe stuff, and then you mentioned freak.
I didn't mention that at all.
Oh, I don't know. But then you talked about SA, so then we went on a tangent. Our fault. Sorry.
So
we apologize.
You had something in your
Sidebar topic.
Right, and I know that you might feel a certain way about it. Right, so I'm in therapy about it. It's very easy to talk about it there. I don't care if my therapist knows that about me. It doesn't affect our relationship.
Okay, does that act bubble up in the relationship? Does it have certain things that affect you now and shape you now?
I think that's when I get to talking about making sure everyone has enough truth to make a decision. I think it might, but also I might need help getting to that point to where I can share it with you.
So how do you allude to your hoe phasing?
Trust me, I know.
What are you talking
What
about?
are you told? She never had a whole phase in her life.
She just told us she might have been. She just said if she was outside. Okay, well, not you. How does it like? I'm confused now.
No, I'm talking about in therapy. The point that we were again, the point that we were what we were talking
The
about
SA thing took us off beat.
Why you can tell your therapist the complete truth because they're a stranger, and why that's easier than telling your partner.
Because of the desired relationship you
And what
want
we were
with your
talking
therapist.
right, what we were talking about was I'm afraid to disappoint my partner, not my therapist. Okay. That is where we were. So what are you talking about?
Oh, y'all brought up freak. I'm like, hold on. You somebody
all brought it up.
Somebody brought it up. I'm so confused
know
now.
what? To your point, sometimes that's good because your partner can't bear everything. You need someone else. We're human. We're not God. We're just there to support one another, not to solve everything. And
So if you was on a tape,
I'm with you.
Stop it.
and the tape was, but the tape could resurface. Are you supposed to be truthful, or are you gonna hide it until the tape is exposed? I'm here to entertain, goddamn it.
But to the point of men not wanting to go to therapy, right? Like I think that part of the feeling useless and helpless. Therapy can also help you learn that, like V just said, everything isn't for y'all to wear, and I think that's hard for y'all to hear and accept.
Yeah.
Right, like because a lot of things, like you said, you tell your therapist because your partner shouldn't have to wear that.
Wear that weight.
Some stuff just might not. It's not fair to give everything to you. Everybody can't be everything to you.
You gotta redefine strength to young boys.
Yes, we do.
Strength isn't just carrying everything; it's knowing what to carry and what to.
If it's heavy, put it down.
It's a real leader.
Knowing where to put it to. Maybe you trying to get it somewhere.
So Nikki,
Don't put it in my lap plate.
So I have a question though, because it goes back to the honesty thing. So if a woman has a promiscuous past, at what point does she share that with somebody she's in a relationship with?
She doesn't. She's only
Just
with
like
two
the
people.
guy who experimented in college, he takes that to his grave.
Wait. So wait.
No,
so
we're not rolling with that.
So I'm gonna go back to what.
Y'all want that,
But
though?
no, wait. I'm going back to what Kadeem said though. I still believe that 99% of people don't have the strength to really sit in the 100% complete truth because of what Nikki originally said. Because people are always going to have truths to them that they are nervous about how somebody may perceive them.
But I think
So this idea that everybody that we're going to get to so evolved where everybody's just standing in this unfiltered complete truth. Bingo.
We're not perfect.
But is it some
striving
things
for
in a relationship that you have to find out what's important for that person?
But that's what I'm saying is at a certain point though, even if someone says I have something in my past that I think that is in this relationship that
Is it uncurable? Because I don't care.
It's not you. But this is the thing about truth. This is what's super cool. Who are you to decide what truth is important to that person or not? If you're truly standing in, I'm talking about what truth really is. When we're talking about the book definition, sharing your truth should be able to be unfiltered, unadulterated truth. It's just I'm gonna give it to you. It's not for me to decide. You're making the decision for me. It shouldn't matter to him. How do you know?
No, if it's important to that person that.
How do you know?
Listen. It's important to the person on the receiving end.
How do you know?
Let me get there. So it's important for you to understand what's important for your partner. So I'm with you. I'm saying it's important. It depends on what they. If something comes up later on, they need to know that.
That's where
they need to know that. So, but I'm saying if it's concerning to them, if you feel like I don't have to do that, y'all are not. It goes back to compatibility. You're not compatible.
You're not answering my question.
Okay, so the way
you're not answering
communication is communication, and your man, we know when our partner is the sexual history is important to our partner. So if you know sexual history is important to your partner, then.
I don't feel like you shouldn't have any shame in it. Didn't bring it up, but I don't see why.
What I think Willie's alluding.
The one thing I'm just gonna say the one thing that we don't like about y'all sometimes is how powerful y'all say y'all are, and how y'all preach about the fun. I had fun. I wanted him, and da 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 da. You weren't shameful in the moment. Don't be shameful now.
That's what I just said.
Be proud and strong.
Did I not just say that?
So then share it voluntarily. Don't make an assessment.
No,
I was so close to being on your
weird.
side.
It seems like it's so forced.
No, just give it. It's your truth.
Bro, so I think what...
I don't know. I'm saying I was confused before.
I'm saying
the way that you're proving their point. The way that you're proving their point is that... Hold on, because I'm not going to stay on your side. The way that you're proving their point is that to get there, you'd have to allude that you might have been. And to find out if that's important to him.
Y'all are missing everything that I'm saying. I'm saying, like, I'm not trying to disagree. I'm just adding to what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you. Because I feel like you should be, I feel like, me personally, I think you should be with your best friend. So you should be comfortable enough with yourself before getting in the relationship to communicate these things. But there are some stuff that might not come to a forefront because you don't care, that might not even be brought up. Yeah. So I'm not saying any of these things to avoid telling the truth or play mind games. That's why I said it shouldn't be forced. If you gotta be like, you better tell me now, well, why did you hide it? Some people are like, I don't even think about it because I don't even care. It's not
so women have enough bodies that some of them you don't even remember?
You're not listening.
We don't have any bodies.
You're not
listening. I don't want to speak on this.
You're not listening.
If a man cares about it that much, he'll come to you for it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What are you concerned about? What do you need to know?
Honesty we're just gonna share.
No. I think the honesty.
I'm not wrong.
I think honesty.
I'm not wrong.
I think honesty is the most important.
That's transparency, and everybody don't want that.
And proactive honesty. See, I'm actually defining it. Proactive means I don't have to ask.
Yeah.
Okay. Proactive honesty should be stuff that's present in the present state. This is my example. If we're in the room with the chick that I done
Sienna be doing
that's situational honesty, Chris.
Then it's
situational honesty. I'm giving you the book definition.
Book definition.
I'm gonna give you honesty based on the situation.
I think it's proactive.
Proactive means it's unstimulated.
Proactive is dependent on where the landing space is. If I'm thinking the landing space is, you'll eventually find this out. I'm gonna be proactive and tell you.
No. That's situational. That means you're in a potential.
That's when that tape was about to come out. Yeah.
Both.
And from a guy that's been in some situations, I'm telling you, there's situational honesty, and then there's true proactive honesty.
Okay, so since we talked on Freaknik, how was
Chris, you was that Freaknik.
I would have been. I wouldn't have been ashamed of it. Yes, I was that Freaknik. It was a different time. It was a different time.
This brought us back to Freaknik.
He did. Yes. It did look like it was popping.
I thought that when I was little.
It did look like it was popping.
To talk about
look, she's like, you guys are all essayers.
If my history in Freaknik or me attending Freaknik has brought its way 20 years or 30 years into our relationship, now, I should be honest about Freaknik. Or sometimes, if it popped up on the TV, you think you should be honest then?
I think
Like,
I'm defining that proactive honesty means that I'm going to bring things to you that you may not even necessarily know that you wanted to know or even need to know.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be proactive because I'm understanding my truth. And the only thing I was debating was, and this is just because I've been around somebody who's a serial, like a platform about truth, is that what Kadeem was talking about, and then when Nikki said, I actually agree with Nikki, most people can't get there because we're always going to put things through a filter of how does this may change how somebody sees me.
And then we assume, and we cast
we do naturally.
too much.
Finish the book, bro. Don't assume either.
Right, but I'm with what I'm saying is that we cannot say that people are sitting there in relationships giving these unfiltered truths and saying, I don't care how this person sees me. That's a high level of like truth telling.
But also what keeps you in a good relationship is also caring about.
I'm not gonna because I'm about to say I'm not gonna hold you or fold you. I don't want to be with a man who does not care about how I perceive him.
There you go.
Right.
I don't. Why would I?
There you go.
Yes,
Love that.
I want honesty, right? I want to, the way I word it is I want to always have enough to make a conscious decision.
Bro, Nick, honesty is the most important with yourself.
But Chris,
we're not talking about me talking to myself. We talking about
but Chris, no. Because this is what I'm
when
saying.
you can be honest with yourself, you can be better in a relationship.
Chris, what I'm saying is, and this is what I'm this is what Nikki said, and then what you said. I'm saying that I've been around people who care more about the honesty than what the person thinks.
Yeah.
I just been around those folks.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, what Nikki's saying is, I rather care about I want my
The person over the honesty. Yeah.
I'm saying I know someone who believes in honesty before anything.
He's the same person that put me on the nonviolent communication. He's a
the
guru.
right person. You might be the wrong person because you're not more upfront with your
right. And all I'm saying is, I'm just saying that there's people out there who are that passionate about the truth.
Yeah.
I think the way I'm perceiving it is weird because it sounds like it's forced. It's like when you're dating someone and you're being honest, it's gonna, you're getting to know them. If you're really truly there, like I don't have anything to hide. When it comes up, I'm going to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Versus, all right, first date. How many bodies? Right. What's your credit score right now? Like if it's come off like y'all, I know y'all don't want to be interrogated on your first date. But it's how you say it.
Can I ask you a question, V? If somebody's proactive honesty, do they have to interrogate you?
You said what?
If somebody's living in their ultimate truth and they're being proactively honest, would a man need to interrogate you?
You don't, but there are people that date that way.
Wait. No, so then you're not understanding what proactive honesty. Proactive honesty says I never.
I
need
do.
To.
I do understand.
No. You're not because you just gave
talking about something different.
I'm talking about totally different, and you're responding to something that's totally different.
You just talked about. You just gave an example of somebody interrogating you. And what I've been saying this whole time, proactive honesty actually removes the idea of interrogation. Proactive honesty says you don't need to ask me how many bodies. You don't have to do that.
Because I'm gonna tell you.
Honesty says I come to the table and I'm just start sharing things with you.
I got
That's
90.
what I'm saying. What are you saying?
But my proactive honesty doesn't mean you need to share back. I'm saying I'm going to live in my truth.
Yes.
You gave an example of somebody just getting interrogated for what?
How good is that person?
I don't think you understood what I was saying, but it's okay. Go off.
Right. But you're actually out of alignment to the conversation we're having.
Did she shoot at you, bro?
How,
we're having a conversation about proactive honesty.
Hold on. How good is a person doing all that talking?
What do you mean?
Like, what kind of finesse you got? Because don't sit down at the table with me and start talking about how many bodies you got either.
That's what I...
No, but what I'm saying is I'm saying if a person feels like, hey, I want to give you this information, I'm going to give you a gift of this honesty, that's for you.
The gift. Let me sit down and give you this gift of honesty.
Do you know what question I have of people who value honesty?
I ate a
over the
cupcake last week.
Because I know someone like that. Why?
That is the person, though.
No. I'm talking about the other. I'm talking about the other person.
All right.
No, not yourself. No, listen to me.
don't know what they want.
What?
It's literally.
We might not even get to this last one. Willie's about to cook up.
Because Chris is saying it. You
know
want
what
this
we're
guy to
talking
cook
that shit up, boy.
And now you're sitting there saying,
I'm
well, why
lost.
do you want to be
Maybe
honest?
I'm
If that's who
confused.
he is, he's giving you who he is, and you're able to make a decision. I don't want to guy
No, I don't know what I mean.
You should be happy. That's a gift of reveal, of transparency. Take the gift and fucking run.
Okay. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll run 5 laps.
Bounce.
Okay. All right. You guys.
Him, he no wrong.
You're not wrong. I think it's that lean into the rejection thing we talk about. I think we're so scared of the rejection. And I think that's where the self-love comes into play. When you really love yourself, you don't care who's going to be standing there when the smoke clears. It
Clear.
doesn't matter.
And all I was saying, Chris,
Chris.
Chris.
Well, Nick, do you want fake people around you or manufacture relationships?
No, I keep getting but I'm supposed to bounce.
Chris,
I bounced.
Chris,
you have given me the gift.
I didn't say that.
I didn't say that. He said that.
No, talk to him. I didn't say that.
No, but Chris, I
you
love,
bounced.
I
Okay.
see what you're saying because all I was saying initially was that what you just said is utopia. What I'm saying is most people live, what Nikki was saying, most people do care.
Yeah.
So all I was giving a discernment to say, there's this one level of somebody saying, I'm going to be unapologetically honest and I'm not going to care who stays and goes. Then most of us live in this situational honesty where it's like, I do care about how somebody's perceived. I do want to make sure I'm only giving them information that they care about. I don't need to tell them their bodies if it doesn't matter. Most people live there. All I was saying is 99% of people are going to live where all of us are staying.
Who lied to you about their bodies, Willie? Like, because this is really
It's not about bodies.
Willie,
like,
I'm gonna say
who the lied?
to try and tie it up.
Because I don't know how to get to this next one from here.
I've been trying to think for
There
like
should
20
be a
minutes, bro.
hierarchy of care. You should care about your truth, and I don't even like saying that. You should care about the truth more than you care about who stands with you. You should care about that, but it shouldn't be the top marker because you're gonna conform.
Is there such a thing as trivial truth? It's a question.
We might not even get to the last
Is there
one.
such a thing as trivial truth? It's a question.
Oh, redundant?
No, trivial.
Like petty, the petty truth.
Not of importance.
Yeah, small.
Yeah.
Is there such thing as trivial truth?
Yes.
But if you look
Nope. Yes or no?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
There's no such thing as trivial truth. Okay.
There's some things that don't hold as heavy in your identity than others.
Okay.
I think that's true.
That's what I was saying earlier. Sometimes some things what some things mean to someone like if you culturally, some people need to know about certain things that in another culture don't. So you gotta base it on who you.
V, let's just knock down all the cosmetics. We talking about sex and bodies.
No, we're not.
We are.
I mean, we have been. I thought it was about therapy and then truth, and then we got into freaknik and
How
bodies.
does everything get back to sex?
I don't know.
I'm just saying what were we talking about the countries we all traveled or something? We weren't talking about that. Let's be real. We were talking about sexual history.
No, it doesn't have to be that.
Well, that was the truth example that was applied.
Example. That's not the most important truth, I don't think, to anyone in here. I
agree.
Okay, I didn't say it was either. I'm just talking about what we were really talking about.
Can I answer Nikki's question though? I think that's where we talked about the proactive truth being based on the truth is based on the desired outcome of the space that we're in. I think trivial truth is situational. It's trivial truth based on what are you? What's the outcome? What's your intent? And I feel like the part that I don't like that I've heard is somebody making the decision for me. What's trivial?
Yeah, I was about to say. Well, yeah, exactly. How can you say what's trivial if it might not be that to the next person?
That leads into compatibility. We can switch it. Come on, that was a little tense.
I don't know how we go from there to there. I almost want to wrap it up.
You can wrap it up. Wrap it up.
Beat it.
Y'all been cooking.
I cannot wait to Patreon this.
Huh?
I cannot, because I'm ready to cuss William out.
I'm with it.
When the baby leaves this room, your goddaughter is saving your life. Oh my God.
Yo, stay tuned for Patreon.
Your goddaughter is saving your life.
Oh, we didn't get the church announcements up. Yes, Patreon coming, merch. We're going to do a quick little photo shoot. We're going to have pre-orders up. The way you're going to get the discount, though, if you want the discount on the merch, is you got to be a Patreon member. So, there we go. We won't be killing them, but we're gonna do a little cool stuff for Patreon. Nah, we ain't gonna tax them, man.
Tax them.
We're not gonna tax them.
God damn it, Chris. Freaknik and higher taxes.
Vote for Feather.
That's your dog.
You
You want to find out. The second the baby leaves, you finna find out.
I need everybody to do what my baby says and
Like, subscribe, hit the bell. Hit the bell.
hit the bell. Hit the bell. It means a lot to all of us here. Get ready for the Patreon link. I'll probably have that set up next week. I got everything in line for these pre-orders on the website. Website's gonna launch soon as well. And we out.
I like podcast.